Well, thank you very much, Masfat, for the kind introduction and especially for this wonderful event. Allow me to share my PowerPoint and allow me to say first that what a great presentation from Professor Dian. He's an expert in AI and teaching technology, artificial intelligence, and we got so many something interesting, especially for the last one that he said that AI is inevitable. We cannot resist and we should embrace it, but ethically. So we have to be more responsible for using AI in our daily life. So allow me in this session to deliver something different, something that actually showing the broad picture of the world. We might want to understand a little bit what's going on around the world, as later on AI provides could be challenges and could be opportunity for all of us, all the nations. First, I start with this picture. This is a painting that was won the 2022 Colorado State Fair. When the picture by Jason Allen won the award at the time, there was controversy because many artists complained to the committee why this painting could win the award, because this painting actually made 100% through AI. As Pak Dian already mentioned before, that there are so many tools that we can create our daily activities, our creation through AI. Could be narration, could be even we can rewrite our own stories of movies that we like, even though, for example, if we don't like the original story that being told in the movies, for example, we can rewrite that. And this kind of painting won the award. And Jason Allen at the time, he defended himself that I didn't break any rule, and because he already told the committee that he will use AI to submit his original painting. This just show how amazing and very advanced of AI have been shape our activities for the last couple of years. And if we still remember, for example, we go back like 25 years ago when Google first introduced, this is the first Google picture at a time, when in the early 2000s, many people were so happy, amazing, because they can ask many questions through Google. And as a result of that, Google become a word we can ask, we can Googling and etc. So, and later on, Google also introduced in 2006, Google Translate. I think this is the minor example of AI in our life that has slightly changed the way we live, the way we develop as a human being. Even though some people don't understand English, for example, they can understand now because there is a translation. Two years ago, I lived in Korea for 6 months, and at the time, there are many languages, there are many words that I cannot speak in Korean. So what I do is that I just put the Google Translate to every words in the shop and everywhere I go. And it's very easy. And even I can talk to Google, and my voice instantly translated into Korean, so people can understand very easy. So I said at the time, what an easy life we have now, because not only just we can able to travel all around the world, but we can communicate to every people in the world because of the technology, because of AI that help us connecting our community. And we know the story later on that now we have so many applications, we have so many tools from AI that provide us with many things. Pak Dian told a story about how data sharing and how we can ask something through ChatGPT, and Google also have a Bard. And sometimes if we are not comfortable enough with our language while writing English, for example, we can ask Grammarly to fix some of the errors, for example. So it's a really develop in our life now. And interestingly, two years ago, when the war between Russia and Ukraine happened, and Ukraine president, tried to access as many forums as he can to provide a political campaign for his country to get a sympathy and to get a support. And one event, he was talking formally at the front of before the Australian parliament. This is the picture of Zelensky delivered speech in the Australian parliament through Zoom. Imagine we cannot have that last 20 years, 15 years. Now it's something that we have daily as a daily activities, and even more developed. I read news a couple of days ago that for example, during our Zoom meeting now, it might be possible in the near, maybe this year or next year, all the speakers could be summarized into words by Zoom itself. It's kind of amazing tools that we have, technology that we have now. So I will explain in this session three questions. What will the world look like in 2050? Whether still be the same or different? It's still misery, but I think we can predict what looks like, especially with the development of technology. The second question is that how will AI shape international diplomacy and change the future? And I think this is very important questions that we should ask, because international diplomacy is not really something that might be dependent only to the diplomats, dependent to the state's officials, but it could be and will be surely affected by AI development. Third, what do we need as an individual, as a community, to adjust today to take care of the future, especially if we are talking about the relationship between Indonesia and Australia. Many people say that we can choose our friends, but we cannot choose our neighbor. So Australia will be there forever as our neighbor. So we have to take care of our relationship communication. And I think this platform that initiated by Masfat, it's great platform, and this is something that we should do in many activities, many forums. So allow me to share what the future looks like. Imagine 20 years from now, that surely that our world will develop in many ways. I put some of the changes over here, not all the changes, but some of the changes we might noteworthy to discuss. For example, that the global population will be projected close to 10 billion in 2050. It's really developed. Now our population is 8 billion. Imagine our population is growing faster in the next 20 years. What does it mean? It means many things. That we are living in the same world, but with the larger population, larger things that we are needed, larger product, larger water, larger consumption, larger technology, because we have to feel that this larger population need something to take care of them all. So that's why many people, many government really concerned about how to manage the larger population, especially has been predicted that there are several countries that being really increased significantly, while at the same time the people age 60 years and older will be increased. And this is also having another problem, because when the elderly people become increased in the population poster, it means that there are many people that needed to be taken care of, and younger generation slightly being decreased. It's for economic development, it's not good, because it means that the workforce will not as many as today, and it will affected the economic development and consumption. And I think even though we might understand that the AI will create a new kind of jobs, kind of new industries, but we still need some people to do the job for taking care and understand the AI itself, for AI to work for the economic activities or production. And another problem will be a climate change. Now, climate change is a hot topic, and many countries are worried about, even for developing countries. But the problem is that the climate change is spreading toward all over the world, and will become another problem, because even though now there is an agreement that many countries has to be stabilize the temperature for the next couple of years, but we understand that two largest economies in the world, the United States and China, are competing in terms of using oil and natural resources for their economic development. And two countries are actually not at the same page as many other countries, others, because of they're really competing in economic development and really affecting the global climate change. Another problem is that a global war. People believe that some people might think that the global war might be decrease or reduce or even disappear. I think in many research has been predicted that's not the case, because war will happen, will not stop, and there are many reasons of that, and possibly I can relate it to this question, to this topic later on in the next slide. Interestingly is that the extreme poverty will fall below 2%. Extreme poverty, what we mean by extreme poverty is that something, people who live under $2 per day. Now, last year, 2 years ago, there are still many people live under poverty. The number is about 8%, slightly decreased. It is good news actually, because it's related to the global trade in the future. The global trade, it's very interesting, because it will be double from today. At the end of 2023, 104 trillion GDPs total for all over the world, and in the next 20 years it will change hugely, and it will develop significantly. And interestingly is that many developing countries like India, Indonesia, China will be the top of world's economies. Western countries slightly fall below the 10 largest economies. However, even though the emerging countries will slightly reduce the gap in terms of its technologies, in terms of economic growth towards the Western civilization. However, the Western countries still dominating in terms of controlling the advanced technology through AI itself, for example, or other technologies like computer science and many other sectors in technology, and especially for heavy industries. And I think it's interesting, because in one way, Western civilization still dominating in some important sectors, while the developing countries are trying to reaching out and reducing the gap towards the Western. And we are going to see the way the world competing in terms of economic production. So this is the example of the world GDPs. If you see here, the increasing of GDP per year for the last 20 years, it's really significant. It's doubled to what we have before in the last 20 years. And interestingly is that not only that the emerging countries will fill some of the gap towards the Western countries, but also the competition between the largest economies that I will show as part of AI, affecting our global economy, and it's also affecting the competition of between larger economies. So what I describe here is that some challenging pictures of the world, and later on I will try to discuss some opportunities that we are facing, especially through the development of artificial intelligence. So go back to AI. As Dian already mentioned before, that AI is inevitable and is going to shape our future, whether we like it or not. So AI surely will change every part of human life. For example, in terms of economic development, so there will be a multilateral competition between countries. Even though AI is a tool for our daily activities that can make our life easy. For example, we can access information, we can create something we like, but in the broader picture, AI also used by developed countries and emerging countries as a way of enhancing their economic development. So in here, we are going to see the competition on developing AI as a tool for economic development, for AI, for even for military industries and many other things that will interest the government to really develop. But to underline here that not all countries can access the advanced technology or at the same level. Now we are seeing that China tried to develop its technology and compete with the state, for example, and this will hugely affecting both countries in terms of not only the development of technology, but also its economic development, because AI will make it easy for many other countries to access natural resources, to identify what the strength and what the weakness, for example, and giving the fact that for the last couple of years, the two countries have been in trade war. And I think we are still being concerned for the near future and how two countries as the largest economies in the world, and now they are having a more advance in terms of AI compared to any other countries in the world, and it will surely affecting their competition. For example, for the last 2 years, the total economic trade between the US and China is about 47.86 billion US dollars. However, this total actually deficit, having a deficit for the US 23.72 billion. It means that the US exporting less than importing products from China. So basically, the US government, the US companies are importing more products rather than exporting. So the US having a really a problem in terms of how to balance the economic trade. So as AI will affecting two countries in terms of their many activities, not only in economic, but also in military, security, and politics, it surely will affecting their competition as well. In other words, many other countries that are surround them because too dependent on the US economies and China's economies. Now, many countries even depending on Chinese infrastructure investment, for example, it's really make more countries watching to not only watching the two countries are competing each other, but also affecting through that competition. And that's something we should be aware of in the future. However, the good picture of the world through AI is that AI provides new opportunities for multilateral forums and bilateral diplomacy. So I like what Pak Dian said before, that if we are being asked, what can we learn from AI nowadays as individual, as a community? So something that is important, as Dian said, is that a partnership and collaboration. So new opportunities for multilateral forums like United Nations and many other multilateral and even regional forums like us in ASEAN or us in Asia Pacific involving Australia, South Korea, Japan, and China, is that first we have opportunity for data sharing of our economic development, for example, and our SDGs strategies and strategic sectors that we are going to achieve for SDGs, for example, and even for our security data. That's something we can share together, and we can learn together, and we can build a better communication and how to solve the problem, because many problems are not actually the problem of one particular country. For example, if we are talking about SDGs in Indonesia, Malaysia, and Singapore, many aspects that those countries should work together, for example, in forestry, in haze pollution, and people are moving around, for example, that's something we should working together. And that kind of collaboration is available because of the data that can be provided to AI. Academic collaboration, for example, it's more possible now than before, because of AI have become the tools for accessing many data as well. And one also interesting for our bilateral diplomacy is that now we are having a direct communication. Before AI developed into this kind of advanced AI, many people are having a challenge for direct communication. But now AI provides us with a direct communication. We can imagine, for example, in the future, how bilateral and multilateral meetings, we don't need an interpreter. We just talk to each other with our own language. We don't have to speak English. We don't have to speak Arabic. We don't have to speak Spanish. We just talk to others with our own language, and AI help us, communicating that, and we can listen to others' speech in our own language, even though they speak through their own language. So this is kind of, and we can summarize any speech instantly in that moment, for example. So we can have a direct communication, and it is better and better to have that kind of direct communication if we are going to develop better bilateral forums and bilateral diplomacy. And a second is that not only AI will affecting hugely in terms of the state affairs, but also people's everyday life. We know now that our integration has been global, that we are feeling connecting to each other every day. We don't feel that we are far away from Australia. We are not far away from the state because of the communication we have. It's really global integration, and we are also having affected by AI in terms of our basic needs. We are affected in terms of information. Now information become our daily consumption. Now education become our daily consumption, and we can access that online. We can access that anywhere, from everywhere. So for the last couple of days, newspapers in Indonesia are talking much about Elon Musk coming to our country and bringing the new Starlink, for example. That's actually not something new, actually, because it's inevitable. Imagine that we were living 20 years ago. We feel that internet is not our we cannot find it in our daily activities. Internet was something expensive at the time. Even paying for 100,000 rupiah at a time, we feel so expensive. But now paying 100,000 rupiah is something very easy, even more than that. Now the new internet coming for $700,000, we might see as slightly expensive for now, but imagine for the next 2 years, 3 years, 5 years with that speed, for example. That's why the government provide a red carpet for Elon Musk in order to give the access for internet in many rural areas, especially for village hospitals, for example. And also workforce. Masfat mentioned about how AI will replace many job in our workforce. That surely is inevitable. We cannot avoid that. It will affecting the workforce. However, it's also creating new kind of job for people who are can assisting kind of job with AI. So people's everyday life will hugely affecting. And in terms of the bilateral diplomacy between Indonesia and Australia, I think this is our topic that we need to take care of, because our closest neighbor is Australia, and I believe in the session that will be presented tomorrow also will be much talking about how the bridge between two countries can be enhanced, can be make it easy communication. I have a personal experience, because when I did my PhD in Perth, Western Australia, I used to talk to many people, Australian people, especially for business communities, as my topic at the time was about the expansion of Indonesian large companies. So I oftenly speak to business people in Australia, and they have kind of perception that doing business in Indonesia is really hard. They have difficulties in accessing Indonesian market, Indonesian economic cooperation, while they don't have that kind of problem while doing business with other countries like in Malaysia. Even though Malaysia are quite a bit far from Australia compared to Indonesia, so they still have a thinking why Australia having problem in terms of economic cooperation at the time. That was almost 10 years ago. So I can feel they worried about the two countries relationship. So what I am thinking right now is that actually we can do a better cooperation, because now we have AI and can provide us with something that we needed for developing our collaboration between two countries. And in that case, in that topic, I tried to ask ChatGPT about the relationship between two countries. For example, I asked, what do you think about Indonesia and Australia? They have a good relationship. So the answer is quite true, because it says here that two countries have a complex but generally positive. The two countries having a good relationship, yes, indeed. However, there's a complex here. It shows that through our history of collaboration, bilateral diplomatic relationship, we don't have all good relationship for many years. Sometimes we have a bad relationship, sometimes we have better and good relationship. But it shows that there is something that we need to develop, we need to enhance in terms of collaboration between two countries. And I ask more, do you think Indonesia and Australia relationship will get better in the future? Even ChatGPT have a positive tone in here, because it says that the relationship has a potential to improve given some of initiative that have been done. For example, the recent one into 2022, IACEPA, Indonesia, Australia, a comprehensive economic partnership agreement. This is long a process of negotiation, and finally two leaders are agreed, and also other collaboration between ASEAN and Australia, ASEAN, Australia, China, South Korea, and Japan. What also interesting is that I asked, what can make two countries having a bad relationship? And ChatGPT also provides some answers. And lastly, I asked, what can us as individual do to make our relationship better in the future. Surely the answer that we might guess, having like cultural exchange or understanding, I think that's quite obvious. Education awareness, exchange between people have been there for many years now. Even if I'm not mistaken, now it's already like more than 70 years. The first time Australia provides scholarship for Indonesian students to study over there, and now we are seeing many Australian students are coming to Indonesia for having like 1 semester or 1 year, having their field work and having their bahasa Indonesia learning, for example. And I think that's good way of enhancing. And interestingly, number 5, this is something that we are doing right now, something that Masfat has been wonderfully initiated, that social media and digital platforms, something that have not been initiated broadly. I think this is we should do it more often. We should ask people to engage more, because AI provide us with opportunity and something that not possible before, and now is very possible. So allow me to say as the end of my session, something that we have to be aware of, something we should acknowledge, that enhancing relationship is something that we cannot see as a core spontaneously. Something is not there instantly. It should be do it deliberately. Something we should do it, should initiate it, especially by everyday diplomacy. So if people asking me what should we do in terms of providing a better diplomacy between two countries, the easy answer is that to have a everyday diplomacy, and everyday diplomacy is that through a AI helping us shaping the narrative, writing something positive. AI can help us in our social media and so on, and hopefully that can enhance our sense of mutual understanding and mutual connection between the two countries. And I think that's my take on this topic, Masfat, and I hope provide something useful for the audience. Thank you very much.